screen. I'm hunkering down. Judge, jury, executioner!
Trapping all those fighting souls, but yet across the world I see you standing in my way. And remember the time, the place we used to fight like the sun and moon. And I wonder if ever there was a time that we were friends. The night has fallen, shadows looming, and yes, that time has come for me to seek you out. We are set now for our last reunion. Break the chains, find your way, come find me. Do you remember who you really are? Show me that you are still the only one for me. I'll be waiting for you. Playing and hoping your rise, raising up your fists and smashing through time walls. Before the rift splinters again, we are rebels till the end. Rise and hoping your mind, hold on to your powers. No one can stop us. We are rivals till the end of time. We will clash, no matter where. We will fight, reaching across time and space. 'Cause you are my destiny to the end.
The action's only just begun, gamers. One map out of 4 best of 5s has been played, but Citadel are already showing us just why they are one of the favorites.
I mean, that first round was actually very, very close. It could have gone either ways. The second round, though, not so much. I think if Vice had been able to build that invisible boundary just a little bit faster to have it to be able to catch that Winter Soldier when he goes for Kraken impacts, when we see all of those ultimates being dumped, maybe they're able to win the long term, especially if they drop it onto point itself too, so that you force everyone from the Citadel onto either going into the slow and getting absolutely rolled by the Winter Soldier, or being zoned off of the objective and finally allowing Vice to go for the cap. Because the problem for them afterwards was that they just were never able to out-rotate Citadel. Their entire team wrapped all the way around the point rather than splitting and one person going into it. So even though when they rotated, they weren't in a position where Citadel would easily be able to access them for a dive, the second that they actually showed up in one of those chokes, there was nothing preventing Citadel from just having 6 players all looking at them. As we head into a map that we don't really get to see all that much of. Whenever we've gone to Convoy, it tends to actually be either Yggdrasil, or if you're worried about Jeff strategies, Midtown. Spider Islands is one of the best maps when it comes to things like that, Jeff. And Mantis being the insta-ban leads me to feel like we're probably going to be seeing a land chuck show up in either a ban or a save real soon.
I mean, Citadel Gaming, they certainly would be looking for a save here. I don't know if they're going to prioritize maybe matching Adam. Might see a Jeff ban straight away into a one-sided Jeff, potentially. While it's Jeff does have a huge amount of value here from the amount of environmental hazards that are around on Spider Islands, it can be a little bit less linear in terms of where fights take place, so you can get a little bit less value out of a joyful splash compared to a map like, say, Symbiotic Surface, where they tend to be quite linear fights where you can get a lot of cleave. Going to be for Emma who's prioritized here.
Yeah, Citadel Gaming really setting themselves up to have a very strong defense, but a really strong attack too. If Vice try and go for a triple Vanguard, hold on the objective itself, having the EMEA being able to just shut the Vanguards down as well as kick them deeper into the enemy team so that the other strategists can't receive LOS to heal them would be a very big problem, as Jeff is still going to be receiving those bans, as Vice prioritized going for the Adam to have a triple strategist line as well as the comic revival fights. Citadel going for the priority on the EMEA to have a better Vanguard line, means that the Landshark is left vulnerable for both.
Definitely a world where we see Doctor Strange bands come out here as well to try and shut down the pentagram of Ferala. This was the map where we first saw like the pep style hold, the 3 fights on the defensive first to try and drain the time back as much as possible off the back of holding it spawn with Vanguards, TPing back with Vanguards, and then walking back shamefully with some Vanguards. Invisible Woman is going to be the last to go here, struck from the ledger of Citadel Gaming, as Vice are going to get their last protect.
Citadel Gaming got Ultron though. They saved it. Vice don't have the opportunity to ban it, so they're going to be removing the Invis Woman, which means their dives are going to be stronger because they don't have to worry about CC, but you can't dive an Ultron. And you also have to worry about Citadel Gaming having Ultron advantage when it comes to being able to give their flyers what they want. If it's going to be a Star-Lord, if it's going to be a Human Torch, even if it's going to be a Phoenix, they're going to be able to have so much better pocket, especially because they've been able to guarantee that it's one-sided.
Okay, gonna be Citadel Gaming defending first. We head over to the Spider Islands, but the sky is going to be difficult to contest here. We know that Knuten likes to play a little bit of the Iron Man, but I'm not sure if we're going to be seeing it too often here at the beginning of Spider Islands. Instead, like to see the Storm alongside the Moon Knight for a damage boost and the quick hands of Khonshu, and Knuten certainly knows how to throw hands on the Moon Knight.
Yeah, we saw a Groot as well, but Wolverine has not been targeted, which means that we're likely going to be seeing that one come through from Citadel's side, as Groot is still one of the most vulnerable Vanguards into that duelist. Groot's going to be strong though, because you're going to have Strangling Prison having really good synergy with things like the Hunt of Khonshu coming through from that Moon Knight, as well as being able to use those walls to block LOS and try and find some isolations on targets, given the fact that they've got one-sided invisible.
Yeah, the one-sided Invis Woman does mean that we do have that uneven kind of Wolverine counter from a force physics, which really could change the calculus of how something like Groot gets played, or even Magneto in some cases. Straight away, oh, we have the Rocket Raccoon here as well, so there's going to be a Battle Recall Beacon available for Ken should one member of Citadel Gaming fall early.
Yeah, it's going to be full triple strategist, triple Vanguard. So Citadel Gaming not even going to be putting one duelist onto the table to try and pocket it, as we can see Tanuki up in that sky getting the full pocket coming through from that Luna. Going to be putting a lot of pressure onto both among, but also scouting Lugia to make his Vanguards have an easier time.
Mello taking a bunch of damage here, has to raise up the Iron Curtain to try and draw away some of this. A quick isolation onto Enzo, usage of the Ironwood Wall from Missouri. And you can see that force physics now coming in to try and pull Polly into a more dangerous position. But Symbiotic Resilience is just in time, and the Hand of Khonshu gets dropped. More hands thrown. Citadel Gaming is ceding away space here, so they are going to have to come back in, using the Rage of Ultron, laying down the damage. Mid-air strikes here onto the Storm are not really going to be too viable, and so instead prioritizes the backline. Ken is down, and Baby Bat's going to have to flee away on the ice skates. I think that one might be over for Venom. There he goes.
I mean, he'll be back really quickly, though. Venom does roll back into the fights very fast. Knuten's now going to actually go over to that Punisher, so he's going to be getting full damage boost from the Storm, as well as being able to melt through things like the Vanguards and provide hit scan opportunity against the Ultron. Out comes Strangling Prison. Citadel Gaming going to try and live the consequences off of it, coming in through with the Rocket Seer, as Among goes for the Hurricane to catch onto the back line just in time. Fate of both towards Prox Malix, though.
It's a big commit coming through from the side of Citadel Gaming. They're throwing everything into this fight, knowing that they may well swap their entire composition in the aftermath. And so Enzo's going to pull the trigger as well. Is that 6 mind controls I see on my screen right now? Oh my goodness. Vice are all caught looking at the pretty lady. And that means that a follow-up's easy for Tanuki around the outside. Enzo coming up close and personal. Ironwood Wall keeps them in a tight position. But Missouri's too far gone. Tanuki's dropping emotes up in the sky. The swagger's off the charts. The Citadel rebuffed the assault.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to be dropping Rage of Ultron soon into this next fight. Either try and survive the consequences of Strangling Prison or potentially catch where Lugia is going to be using this last stand. You're CC immune against that Wolverine ultimate when you're in your Ultron state, and you can use it in case some of your Vanguards get caught. Melio's got the Meteor Ram too to try and absorb Knuten when he builds up this Galactic Legend to try and finally take out the Ultron.
Knuten already falling low, having to return to the loving arms of the strategist. Polly barely even managed to survive a second. Well,
back though, BRB.
Oh, the BRB. Yep. The sins are forgiven, and the walls have been raised. Disengagement here from Melio needs to be rather too sweet as Tanuki forces out the invisible boundary using just the Rage of Ultron. Melio taken out in midair by Lugia with the final stand. That's one way to shut down a Meteor M I have never seen before. Among just, he's ulting his ghosts. The voices told him to ult, and the voices were a bit duplicitous as Among has been taken into the back rooms and beamed down by Emma. Enzo gonna reset.
Yeah, here comes the portal. So though not going to be teleporting onto the objective, going to be teleporting onto that high ground as they don't want to go directly into the Strangling Prison combined with that blind. As you can see, Baby Bat was already in cloak form looking in case. So they did try and go for that play. Out comes Psionic Seduction, which is how they were able to go for the high ground because they've got the Emerald ultimate to get all of the space back. Baby Bat dodges it and provides healing with the CC immunity of Eternal Bond, but Ken gets the damage boost the Feast of the Abyss, which means that Vice have to worry about a pit coming through from that Venom.
Cosmic Yarn Amplifier didn't stay up for long. Mid-air duel here with Knuten. Tanuki doing their best to dodge around. Has for Lunar Flake, of course, for additional healing coming in as they can't really heal themselves too easily. Quick flick up here from Polly and slams back on down. Focused fire onto Missouri as the Lumberjacks chop down the tree. A Feral Leap goes astray from the Wolverine and their rage will be abated for a second longer as the back line now feels the ire of Polly getting in closer into invisibility. Still, they can smell Ken no matter where they are. Tracking down the Invisible Woman. A last second recontest coming through from Baby Bat. This means that Missouri has to make the swap over onto the Loki. A quick usage of a regeneration domain, and it seems like Enzo was stunned somehow out of the ultimate they were channeling. A BRB brings them back. Lugia was responsible for that one. There's still a couple of ultimates in the back pocket here for Vice if they want to try and use that Feral Leap. Oh, the last stand can't get to the point, though. It's Polly popping off on the Venom.
Yeah, Vice tried the same magic coming through with the Midtown third hold. Strange portal with Loki regeneration domain, so you don't have to worry about the ultimate economy. Can cheese overall sustainability up against Citadel Gaming's pick potential abilities with the regen domain. It's not to be though, it gets burnt out. Both the Rage of Ultron being able to deal with that one as well. Keep up Citadel Gaming's health buzz when it comes to that brawl. Now we got to see another full hold on Convoy. Is it going to be a fuller hold though? Because Vice prioritized the Adams save for this specific reason. They are going to be incredibly hard for Citadel Gaming to ice from a position within the first fight with things like the Loki regeneration domain and the Soulbind to give them first fight advantage.
The Ken's living his best life right now. Has only been a casualty one time, taking just over 1,000 damage. Just on cloud 9, having the easiest game of his life.
To be fair, they didn't really get the opportunity to go for the backline. When Vice tried to go for hits on the backline, it was normally off of opportunity brought on from Storm ultimate so that you don't have to get past the bouncer check. That was Citadel Gaming's entire Vanguard line plus Ultron up in the air.
All right, going to be action right at the doors here, no doubt. It's going to be a close hold from Vice. 3-3, including a Karmic Revival from Knuten, which is really going to change the calculus of how these things work. Already trying to hunt down the Adam Warlock and force out the Cocoon as early as possible.
Not just that, but Adam is the hit scan. So Adam is actually the main thing that deals with Tanuki on that torch, which means that if the Adam doesn't get the opportunity to look at the torch absolutely melts the Adam Warlock. That's already self-Cocoon reinforced.
Oh, now Melo's just going to be untouchable in the back. No hit scan, no levitation for the Doctor Strange. Tanuki getting up close and personal, dropping some hot spots on the floor. And, well, the elements, we know how that works. Fire versus the grass type, it never works out well. Tanuki rips them through. And there's no disengagement on the point either, as you see that Enzo has just barricaded the door.
Oh, it was the last pick on Strange too. Harry, that's awful. Vice aren't going to be able to go for a fast Strange teleport back into this fight. They have to wait for their Strange to come back through, which means that they're not getting to build up ultimate charge into this next fight either. Citadel Gaming going to have such an advantage. Vice teleport onto the high ground, trying to put more pressure onto Tanuki and Melio's angles. But Polly with that Feast of the Abyss can have so much aggression with the sustainability it provides.
Oh, with the Pyro Prison though, this is such inhospitable terrain, and the Supernova's already good to go. What can you try and force out already? You don't even need to force anything. Just going in raw. No means of trying to stop the damage. The Rage of Ultron and the Supernova in quick succession. Another pair of emotes from Tanuki. Is that a soul bond?
And copied Canutum.
A spin to win. The 360 mind control. Citadel Gaming knew it was uncontestable, and so dropped a little bit of swagger, put some sauce on it for those of us in the audience.
Yeah, that is the worry when you get one-sided Ultron for the draft. That means that you can play Torch. And then you just have to look at the one thing on the enemy team that's going to be hit scan and potentially stopping that Torch if we're sitting in a poke versus poke fight, given the fact that the attackers have to walk out of spawn into space that the defenders already hold. So they should always be able to pre-fire into the flyers, which is why Polly on that Venom when an absolutely unseated Canuton on the angle that the Atom was holding, so that when he's trying to run away and disengage to live the Venom's aggression, he doesn't get the opportunity to look up, and Citadel were able to unleash the Pocket Flyers.
Yeah, when the Pocket Flyers come out, that's when you're really missing Oligator, who's such a talented hit scan player on that Hela as well as on the Phoenix as well. But for Citadel, it's just so scary for other teams to see that Polly has this Venom available now, because Polly was a menace on the Captain America, but Envy kind of solved it at Guangzhou, right? They started banning the Captain America, and then Citadel ended up floundering when Polly's hero pool was reduced. But having learned this Venom, maybe taking a couple of lessons from Enzo, who used to be their Venom player, it really has made this roster incredibly dangerous.
Yeah, and then Citadel there in that last fight also identifying, because that was the Strange Portal fight, if they literally just found every single ultimate connection onto every player from Vice, they wouldn't have to worry about another fight, because they didn't even go all the way through on first when they pushed on their attacking round. You can just clear the board and win. There's no way that they're going to be able to come back into that fight, which is why we saw things like Ken use the God of Mischief as a celebratory comic revival cast on the objective as it hits that finish line, and Citadel hit match point.
Another kingdom added to Domains of Loki. And you know what? Like, sometimes you just identify those win conditions and you act on them. However, there needs to be some action coming through from Vice. They want to stay alive in the upper bracket. We'll see if they can do it after this break.
stopping all those fighting souls. But yet, across the world, I see you standing in my way. And remember the time, the place we used to fight, like the sun and moon. And I wonder if ever there was a time that we were friends. The night has fallen, shadows looming, and yes, that time has come for me to seek you out. We are set now for our last reunion. Break the chains, find your way, come find me. Do you remember who you really are? Show me that you are still the only one for me. I'll be waiting for you. Wake up, open your eyes, raising up your fists and smashing through time walls. Before the rifts splinters again, we are rebels till the end. Rise up, open your minds, hold on to your powers. No one can stop us. We are rivals till the end of time. We will clash, no matter where. We will fight, pushing across time and space. 'Cause you are my destiny to the end. You see the dawn, the flames burning brightly, shining on the
It's time to lock in or be locked out for Vice here, down 2-0 up against Citadel, who have made a substitution, Marks.
Yes, Citadel are going to be taking Tanuki out and putting Pokey in, so we're going to actually be getting the Pokey Melio duelist lineup coming on through, which I really want to see what compositions they want to run alongside this. This could be a triple strategist, one duelist, pocket angle, or potentially a 2-2-2 composition, where we get to see things like double hit scan.
Yeah, and it is going to be. I don't know if they pick substitution before they know what the map is. I assume they substitute after they know what the map chosen is going to be coming through. I believe Convergence it has to be now, given that we've already played Convoy, we've already played Domination. Maybe we're going to something like I don't think we go to Central Park, because unless Melio was going to play Human Torch, I don't think you'd sub out Tanuki for Central Park.
No, maybe Hall of Dejalia coming on for if you want to go for a single duelist lineup coming out, as we've seen them play a lot of Hulk Namor when it comes to Citadel, just being able to really quickly take out that first place point control with just brute forcing the defenders all the way into Garage, so that you get 2 free ticks and then can just control the fight for the third.
Yeah, just being able to control that fight is so important when it comes to like being able to set the terms of engagement, and that's exactly what we saw on like Celestial Husk, right? Being able to always have control as this fast-paced dive team of where the fight was going to happen and when it was going to happen. Vice really had trouble seizing the initiative.
I'm pretty sure I just hit Central Park.
Could be. The music quickly dissipated. It was just a quick preview. How much can you get from 1 second of audio?
I mean, I heard Gothic and I heard Choir. I was right. It is Central Park ramping on up. And now I'm very intrigued to see what Citadel Gaming are wanting to play, because like you said, going to Central Park and taking Tanuki out, who is your go-to Human Torch player, there's gonna be some interesting compositions. That or Citadel Gaming might be just wanting to see how the communication goes between Melio and Pokey, as Vice are going to be managing to guarantee themselves Ultron this time around, so that if they do want to go for a flyer pocket, they're going to be able to match up against Citadel.
All right, Mantis taken away from both sides. Citadel can go for the one-sided Jeff if they so desire, and we have seen a lot of Jeff come out in pro play on this map in particular. However, they're going to opt out. The danger still remains that it's going to need to be banned here by Vice, but Luna has been prioritized to allow for potentially a 2-2-2.
Yeah, Jeff becomes a little bit weaker into the Ultron, being able to come and through the CC immunity of Rage of Ultron, plus being able to scout out where that dive is going to be coming on through. You do have to worry, though, about Jeff's primary if you're an Ultron, though Central Park, with the amount of terrain that's available for flights just be able to cover their hitboxes from, does provide a little bit of respite from all of that continuous spam coming your way, as Vice are going to be managing to ban out the Ultron from Citadel Gaming. is Citadel remove the Atom, something that Vice has long prioritized. Traditionally, when we see them on places like Convoy, they go for the immediate save on the Atom. So they've moved away from that for the Ultron, and Citadel see an opportunity and take it.
All right, next Protect coming through. Once again, we're prioritizing the EMEA. This is definitely something that's going to be noted by the back rooms of teams that may go up against Citadel Gaming. This priority of EMEA at the moment really allowing for Enzo to win out in some of these Vanguard duels because Carbon Crush is just so powerful.
Yeah, not just that, but Psionic Seduction. Every single time Citadel Gaming have tried to play into a retake, or they were able to find an early pick or a late pick onto Vice, they wanted to continue applying that pressure. They did it off of the back of Psionic Seduction. We saw it on Spider Islands. We saw it on Celestial Husk. So you can see it's one of their comfort ways of opening up a lot of these fights, and Vice are actually going to make sure that it's not one-sided EMEA, as they save the EMEA Frost themselves.
Yep, EMEA duel this time around. Not willing to let it be potentially unmirrored. So last ban comes through from the side of Citadel. They're going to remove the Human Torch. So Vice not going to have any options up in the air. Although it is a necessary ban, given that Ultron was available for Vice and it couldn't be mirrored.
Okay, how do we want to take this approach of Melio currently teasing the blade?
Could be real.
Do you know what? They're on defense. We'll wait and see whether or not it sticks around when they actually come out of spawn to see whether or not they're going to be running it. As Pokey over towards that Hella, so hit scan. Citadel Gaming might actually be trying to deal with flyer comps off of just pressure from the Hella alone. Although, as we've already seen, there is going to be an Ultron up into that sky. So the Hella is going to be taking a little bit of poke if she's on rotation as opposed to already established in that space.
Yeah, the poke you take, like, you expend your health resources, right, to try and claim that space as a Vanguard. You've got to be careful not to give over too much, or you have to cede away that space all over again and go for another cycle with your strategist. And, well, you have to be healed up if you take too much of that poke while you're making your rotation. Sometimes the duelists are going to fall through the cracks. Knudsen currently hovering around on the Iron Man. Could be real.
I mean, it is a comfort coming on through from Vice if they want to go for it, and they also were able to get that Ultron through. Hey, there we go. Melio is not on the blade. He's going to be on the Phoenix instead. So we're likely, even though there's no damage boost from the Mantis, going to get to see Unsung Inferno matched up with the Feast of the Abyss coming on through from Polly. The Citadel are going to go for a close hold, made that a literal hold, as that is a big Carbon Crush from Enzo into Soul Drainer from Pokey to guarantee that they get those earlier limbs onto Vice.
Actual attempted mugging on the streets of New York. And Pokey and Melee are playing this double hit scan. It's going to be an absolute shooting gallery. Looking like my ranked games over here.
They have such a good crossfire as well, which is really unfortunate for Vice to have to deal with, because to give this Iron Man an Ultron space, ideally they could have gone all the way around the backside of the point. Though with how close Citadel Gaming are actually holding, they're going to be able to prevent Knudsen from taking that rotation.
Yeah, Knudsen's getting thoroughly taxed no matter where they go, but having that consistent drone pressure coming through from Among is really going to be a changer. The Piercing Knight in towards the back, a couple of explosions, backed up by Polly, but now Knudsen can be rounded upon. And Pokey already having to disengage here. This actually makes sense as to why they subbed out Tanuki. Pokey's definitely the premier hit scan player, in my opinion, on this squad. Knudsen catches a headshot and has to flee away.
Yeah, but Ken on this Invis woman is getting worked on with the Guardian Shields, given the fact that you can't do headshot damage into them. So there's a little bit of a cushion there for Knudsen, although if it's there for Knudsen, it's not there for the rest of the team. So many resources are going into this Iron Man. Citadel Gaming just see a weakness in an absence of protection for the backline and walk forward.
My goodness. Seeing a little bit of Hella rising up once again makes me worried for the future of, you know, potential team-ups that might come on through with the Namor. As we know, Tanuki is a pretty good Namor player in their own right, so too is Melee, yeah?
Well, speaking of the Namor, you've summoned it from the depths. Vice are going to be moving on over to the Hulk, to that Namor. A little bit more sustainability as well as mobility on that Vanguard to be able to try and jump into those angles and clear out all of Citadel Gaming's presence before the rest of the team walk forward.
Yeah, rocking up on Pokey and Melio here, though, as a Hulk is going to be a difficult task. In comes for Soul Drain around the back. Oh, the best melee DPS in the game has arrived. Here comes my duelist, blowing up the back line as Enzo tries to grab players in. Great Unbreakable Guard coming through from the Hulk. Lugia going to make their best off the back of the space made by their own. Oh, hello. Up close and personal, Melio. 2 sparks are detonated, and Baby Bat and Knuten are sent back to the drawing board off the back of the end song Inferno, the last song that they heard. Ken has nowhere to go. Already the invisible leap has been used, the corrosion has set in, and the flesh begins to deteriorate under the pressure laying down by Venom. Anger sustains Lugia, but unfortunately Anger's just going to be fueling the ultimate banks of the Citadel.
Oh no, I don't know if he's even going to be able to escape. Polly just continues going in, takes a little bit too much damage this time around though, and will fall. Citadel Gaming now without that Venom to be able to prevent Vice from having to turn around, deal with it, and give an opening for Pokemon having to play a little bit further back, more safely towards that objective while they wait for all of that full regroup, and that means that Knuten can finally free fire. Kraken Impact finds the reset onto the Loki's doppelganger, which means he gets another extension of that window, but Polly comes back on proof the corrosive tether and is going to be able to slow everybody from Vice down.
Oh, there's the culling aura triggered once again. Another reset for the GOAT. Knuten drags on in a couple of players. Looking for a target here. Is going to have to settle. Oh, I think they may well have missed Enzo. So there's no reset opportunity. Vice had their opening, but the door is being shut rather quickly. And Enzo wants to be the one who shuts it. Rolls in onto Baby Bat. The Guardian shield is good. And Ken manages to avoid all of the incoming damage as they leap across the doorway. In comes the Monstro. Giganto strikes the ground as Melio comes in from above and really lowers the health pool of Vice. Still, Baby Bat has an option to move on forward. Ken with a double. How does he get it done? The magic missiles out of a scepter of deception. It's a duplicitous angle coming through from the Loki, but sometimes all you need is a good lie and a smile to get in the back door, and Vice, they certainly have found their back door kicked in by Citadel.
How does he do it? Well, he capitalizes on the opening of a damage-boosted Feast of the Abyss, getting everybody from Vice low enough. Citadel Gaming showing the combination so many times. We got to see Ensong Inferno, Feast of the Abyss, and Fate of Both Worlds all put into Vice because they had so much pick potential off of the crossfire and the neutral of both the Hela and that Phoenix, with probably getting so much work done. Going in, distracting Vice, forcing them to have to look at the Venom, in turn freeing up the Phoenix and the Hela to free fire in without a single care in the world, meant that Vice barely got two fights on the objective their entire attacking round.
Yeah, it really felt like they just could not find a fight. Always was losing someone to those long-range hit scans. Double hit scan, like, it hasn't been the most popular meta throughout. Feels like maybe we saw a touch of it in very early Marvel Rivals, like in the Alpha tournaments when Hela was giga busted.
Yeah. It's because it's vulnerable to being dove upon.
Yeah.
But the thing is that Citadel Gaming, they saw that the Ultron was left up, so they knew that Vice were likely going to be using that Ultron to pocket something. And Knuten has gone on paper multiple times to play that Iron Man as a comfort pick, which means that for Citadel, they know that they're not going to get dove upon by something like a Psylocke, which could have been able to pressure the hell out of that place before Vice wanted to walk up into that spacing. Now, though, we're seeing something entirely different, as it is going to be the Penny, but Citadel Gaming, well, they're going to be able to portal directly past it, and they're already fully behind the mines.
Okay, Ken and Enzo on the Black Panther and the Magic. Citadel are having a little bit of fun with it right now. We're like, oh, wait, that's a penny. What do, actually?
I think Tanuki's having, like, a Ratatouille moment in the thief scene.
Why does he get to play Black Panther?
Ken's going in, taking as much pressure as he possibly can, trying to force the attention to have to turn around and peel him at the moment that Pokey tries to move on forward with the Wolverine's passive kicking in. And they are slowly starting to bleed the numbers from Vice's team. They've already found one perma elimination without having to worry about the POP, but Ken, well, he's got to worry about Knuten and the Winter Soldier.
Okay, probably a little bit too far gone there. Baby Bat shows them who the superior invisible woman is, and Knuten has to get out of dodge real quick because Millie was still very scary on the Punisher.
Enzo's still on the Magic. Everyone else from Citadel have swapped over to their normal heroes, but Enzo is so far behind them that he still hasn't had that opportunity. He's just going to mug the backline if someone goes low enough.
Everybody gangster till the controller Magic player shows up. Magic on the sticks. Pokey sends in a piercing knight. That should do good damage towards the Penny mines, and here we go. Pokey finally finding the angle to try and remove some of this territory control, but so easily given over. Pet Melio at range does disengage into a couple of mines, but the healing's going to be good. Pokey takes down Ken. Oh, the most valuable pick you could have found here as a Hela. Nice bird away, goes up the spiral staircase the wrong way, and Knuten once more, it's Ken in mid-air. Bro, Loki may have got a nerf, but no one told Ken about it. Still the GOAT on the God of Duplicity. Into the invisible boundary goes Melio. Maybe a poorly designed engage if ever I've seen one. And Citadel once more are going to have a quick reset.
Still, they only need one tick. They are just going to be able to bank up these ultimates. They have to worry about the penny mines, though, before they can try and move in to make a play off of the back of it. Enzo trying to do everything he can. Takes a little bit of damage, keeps up the charge on that Emma, waiting for his opportunity, buys the space for his Venom to move in, and now we get to see the final judgment pocketing with the Punisher and moving on board to destroy the nests.
Real danger given over here. A critical strike, an alpha strike potentially as Melio takes Elo. A turnaround maybe from the Wolverine. Pokey says absolutely not. From on high, rains down the mortars. Among is taken down. Pokey disengages over to the regeneration domains of the Loki. Help, brother. I need some aid in the back. And it's going to be a Feast of the Abyss, not really getting too much. Polly didn't have too good a setup here. Among opening up the portal. This might be in front of a turret of the Punisher. Indeed, it is. It blocked off the sight line, but it didn't block off the cap. Vice can't get it done. So first tick falls the way of Citadel.
Citadel being able to find that 33.33% that they need, just one singular tick to be able to build up those ultimates and fully brute force their way through. Is Ken, like you said, Loki might have been nerfed, but Ken is more than enough to be able to come on through with that MVP, going to show that Loki still has a place, even if it is not quite as high as we used to see him in stage 1. 13,000 healing, but look at the damage that he was able to do. 6,951 going down a single one time.
I will be rolling into the replays later in the Marvel Rivals client to grab the Enzo Magic stats. That's going to be very important to show off later on in the winners bracket in case it comes out again. We're all very
Look at that
afraid
combo.
of the Enzo.
Nothing is living that. I mean, Ken's able to dodge it off of the double jump coming on through from the invis, but Song Inferno, Fate of the Abyss, Feast of the Abyss, and Fate of Both Worlds all coming on through stacked to make sure that Citadel were able to stop Vice from picking up any sort of presence with that invis boundary.
Yeah, that was just too brutal to try and survive. It was great seeing Pokey back on the Hela as well. Despite seeing most of their competitive success on the Psylocke, I remember the Royal Beamers years for Pokey and Polly on the, I believe they were playing Group Hela at the time. It was a different meta, it was a different time. It was a more innocent time. But Pokey's always been nasty on the Hela and really showing off the hit scan prowess with depth of this roster that Citadel have.
Yeah, I mean, for Citadel, they knew, since it was literally just one tick of point percentage, there was like Vice had to hold on the objective, which is why we saw just the fortification. It was a siege. Central Park had an entire siege go out on that objective, and instead of a moat, you relied on the penny mines. However, Strange Portal lets you just dodge away all of that. They survived the first test as there was a little bit of tomfoolery, shall we say, with the hero picks coming on through from Citadel's side when that portal came through. But from there, it was just a matter of building up those ultimates. Final judgment, the fact that no one from Vice was able to fully disengage off of the point in the face of it because they would lose off of tick percentage alone, meant that they had to hold their ground and hope that they had enough sustainability to live it. But that's just never going to happen when you have that much of a pocket coming on through for the Luna.
Yeah, it was a bit of a ticking time bomb, as you said. Like, they identified, okay, maybe our silliness is going to get a little bit counted out here, but if we can have the countdown to Doomsday with a damage-boosted Final Judgment, like, what are they going to do? Come and fight us? We have guns, lol. What are they going to do? Shoot me? And turns out they did. The Penny does struggle against the gun havers in this game, although it was a great prediction for going up against the Magic Black Panther and managed to shut down Ken and Enzo quite succinctly.
Yeah, but Pokey on that Hela with the long range, being able to pick up both the rocket too to stop the BRB from coming through at the times that Vice needed it, while also being able to build up the Goddess of Death and play it above the point to put pressure onto things like the Penny Nest without your Punisher having to run directly over it.
Okay, as usual, we're bringing in the roller man himself. We've got Enzo on the line for a quick interview. Congratulations on the win, buddy, and tell me, what's the deal with the magic?
I don't know. We tried something. I wasn't really safe on the character. I mean, recently I've been playing a few new characters. I just like first time them kinda. I played Cap because basically I died really early and I had to retouch, so I went cap, and suddenly I got my ultimate, so I was stuck on cap, and I didn't die, and I got another ultimate, so I was still stuck on the character. Same thing for Wolverine. I played a lot of Wolverine recently, and today I say, okay, let's try some magic, but I need some practice on this one. I'm not really good at it right now.
So what was the comms like when you on your first attacking composition came out with both a Black Panther and a Magic, and then they had Penny and Rocket?
I heard the mine from Penny, I'm like, I might need to swap really soon, guys. It's not looking good. And I wasted like 5 minutes trying to break the mines, like the res beacon, because there was the mines, like because of the team up. I don't know, there's not much to explain. It was kind of embarrassing, can't lie.
Yeah, like, that was a lot of countering for Enzo. Everyone's scared of the Enzo Magic, of course. Do you think you'll bring out the Enzo Magic against a team like Na'Vi, who you might face in the upper bracket?
They might not see my Magic, but I think they're gonna see my Wolverine probably pretty soon. It's coming.
We've been seeing a lot of dive compositions coming on through, and you guys have actually been running 2-2-2 dive compositions. Do you think the meta is at a point where we can actually see full dive compositions, or do you feel like if you went up against a team like VP or Na'Vi and you tried to run the 2-2-2, it wouldn't find as much success?
I think we can play this game against anyone. It's I think it's hard, but it's just us. Like, it's what we like to play. It's what we are good at. We're really good at like making chaos in the map, so I wouldn't be afraid of playing this against them.
All right, great to hear. Congratulations on the win, Enzo. We'll let you go so you can watch the remainder of the games and keep grinding that magic, bro. I expect to see a bit more.
Thank you, guys. Hope to see you soon.
That was Enzo Roller God from Citadel Gaming. Can you believe we've got 2 controller vanguards in our pool here for EMEA and DRP and Enzo? They're both so good. Let's have a quick look at how the bracket stands now, Mox, after that first match is completed.
Yeah, now we get to see Citadel going on for continuing in the upper bracket, waiting to see who exactly they're going to be going head-to-head with, as we get to find that out after our second game of the day, Na'Vi or Insomnia. As Vice are going to be waiting to hear who they're going to be headed off against too. I feel like Na'Vi is definitely the favorite headed into this one, but given the fact that they did get dealt a loss by Virtus Pro in the group stages, there was weakness, and potentially Insomnia have been scouting and looking to replicate that.
All right, let's drop on in, see what's available in the store very shortly. I believe a Hellfire Protocol is good to go. Or maybe not. Which one is our marketing asset today? It's the Grim Lady. My bad. The Grim Lady is available in the store right now if you happen to be... Actually, we just saw Pokey playing it on Central Park. Thank you, Pokey. That's our corpo Pokey. The Grim Lady is good to go. If you want to look as good as Pokey does on the Hella and have potentially as good an aim as Pokey does on the Hella, then roll on in to the store and pick up the Grim Lady, now available for Hella.
I feel like we should add a disclaimer, though, that equipping the Grim Lady on the Hella is not going to guarantee you the same level of accuracy as Pokey, nor is it going to guarantee you the same win rate with Hella as Pokey. But we'll get to see who is going to be winning this next matchup in just a little bit. Is it going to be Na'Vi? Is it going to be Insomnia? We'll find out after this short break.